Oklahoma. And in Oklahoma, yes, you do a groom's cake. But in Ohio, never heard of it before. So it is, I think, more of a Southern tradition, which is interesting.
It's usually chocolate or fudgy, and then the wedding cake is usually more vanilla-based or that kind of thing.
That makes sense.
But isn't that funny? But like, if you're, I don't know, and let us know if you're from a different part of the country. Maybe maybe you are the same as me. When I moved to Oklahoma, I was like, I've never heard of this.
To groom cake or not to groom
cake? There you go.
I'm gonna try it.
Me too. Have a great weekend, everybody.
Happy Friday.
You're watching Fox 35 News Plus, streaming on Fox Local.
Good morning to you. Welcome into Fox 35 News Plus. I'm Garrett Wymer. Thanks for joining us on this Friday morning, live on Fox Local, fox35orlando.com, and also on YouTube. It's a busy day. It is the final day of the legislative session in Tallahassee. We're tracking a number of things with that. We are not tracking any thing with the budget. That's not going to be passed today. That's not going to get done today. Still a lot of questions about what that is going to look like, but we do have other things to talk about here today. Coming up later in the show, we're going to speak with Drew Smith, Drew the Disney Dude, about some summer news when it comes to Disney theme parks and some fun things that have been going on there as well. It was also in Tallahassee, the first committee meeting of the House Select Committee on Property Taxes, looking at potentially some proposals that could end up getting rid of property taxes here in the state of Florida. We know this is something that Governor Ron DeSantis has thrown his support behind, and we told you earlier in the week about how this committee that it was put together by the House Speaker, Danny Perez, really kind of the first step in looking at ways to do this, because the goal is to have an amendment, a constitutional amendment on the ballot for 2026, so November of next year, that could abolish that. So they are looking at that. We will take you inside that committee meeting in just a little bit. The Florida Attorney General James Uthmeier in Fort Myers this morning announcing several child sexual abuse arrests. We'll have the details on that coming up in a little bit. We're also going to show you some new body camera video in the Brevard County house party case that involved a principal and a teacher. We'll have more on that in just a minute. But we do begin this morning with the latest details, what we know about an officer-involved shooting in Orlando where police shot and killed a man they thought was waving a gun at them. The 25-year-old Orland Calderon was that man's name, and police say, as Fox 35's Morgan Parrish reports, they later discovered that gun was not real.
And Chief Eric Smith says that his officers had to make a decision in a split second because, like you said, he was waving a gun around, and turns out that that gun was not real. But I want you guys to take a listen to the moment that those shots rang out last night. scary moments. This was right before 6 p.m. on Casing Cove Drive, right off of Convoy Road. And as you just heard, more than a dozen shots were fired. Police say they gave several commands to drop the weapon in both English and Spanish before those shots rang out. And Orlando Police Chief Eric Smith says 5 officers opened fire on the suspect. Prior to that, Smith says the suspect walked into a nearby 7-Eleven waving a gun around. Then he went into a dry cleaner's doing the same exact thing with that gun. And like I mentioned, turns out that that gun was not real.
I just feel bad that they're dead, honestly, because it's like, I'm sure it could have ended in different ways.
And police say that Orland did have a criminal history. We know that no officers were injured during the shooting, but still there's a lot of questions that need answers. So we're going to stay on top of this and wait for some new details. As soon as we get an update, we'll be sure to bring you the latest.
A Fox 35 exclusive now, as a new video of a Cocoa Beach police officer trying to reach a school principal and teacher about a house party where kids were reportedly drinking alcohol and using drugs. This is a story that we have been following. Fox 35's Matt Preza shows us that exclusive new video.
Newly released body cam videos show the moments that deputies are trying to track down Elizabeth Hill Brodigan and Carly Anderson. Both those things happened during phone calls. Anderson is charged with disorderly conduct and disorderly intoxication. Hill Brodigan is facing multiple charges, including child neglect and contributing to the delinquency of a minor. First, you'll hear Hill Brodigan. She's the former principal of Theodore Roosevelt Elementary School.
Am I in trouble or something?
Well, I mean, how do things look? Honestly, how do they look?
How do they look? I mean,
you had a party at your house with a bunch of kids. The police are notified. It's not a good look. I mean, we definitely need to talk.
Now take a listen as a deputy calls Carly Anderson. Anderson taught at Roosevelt. She's since been transferred to Saturn Elementary and is now on paid administrative leave. Take a listen.
I do not participate in underage ragers or allow that. So I want to make it clear to Officer Brown that me and my boss, she might do her thing, but that's none of my business.
We also have video showing the moments Anderson was arrested following the house party that allegedly had more than 100 underage kids, some of whom were drinking alcohol. Hill Brodigan could face at least 5 years in prison. Anderson could face up to 60 days in jail. In Brevard County, Matt Treza, Fox 35 News.
And we should note that jury selection in Carly Anderson's trial scheduled at last check to begin on Monday morning. So something we are continuing to follow, and we'll bring you more next week here on Fox Local. Well, turtle season is officially underway, and Fox 35's Marley Capper spent the morning at Daytona Beach, spoke to officials about what you need to know to keep those turtles safe.
Good morning. It is a beautiful, bright and sunny day here in Daytona Beach, and that is exactly correct. May 1st is the start of turtle season, but they've already seen several turtles come on the beaches, even during the day when people are around trying to lay their eggs, but then they kind of get scared with all the people. So we really want to make sure that we remember that we're in their home and we need to respect turtle season. So let me bring on Nicole Weiss. She is here with Volusia County. First of all, thanks so much for being with us this morning. How are you doing today?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm doing so good. Thanks for being with us. So it's so exciting. Turtle season is here. What do we need to know, though, about it, especially when we come down to the beach?
Yeah, so basically what you want to do during turtle nesting season, the biggest thing is leaving the beach exactly how you found it. So fill in your holes, knock down your sandcastles, and make sure you're taking all of your belongings, including trash, with you at the end of the day. Clean, dark, and flat is how the sea turtles love the beach.
So we also really want to make sure people know not to touch them. Turtles are protected under the law in here in Florida. So if people see the turtles come up and they think maybe they're beached and they're stuck, people kind of want to put them back in the water. But what would you tell people who are maybe visiting and seeing this for the first time that they need to be careful?
Right, so it's super exciting to see a sea turtle. Obviously, it's not something that a lot of people get to experience. So we definitely want you to take advantage of that opportunity, but also remember that they can be easily scared off and they are protected. So keep your distance and call FWC or beach safety right away so that we can get the appropriate folks out to respond.
Definitely. Okay, something else I want to talk about is you guys saw a leatherback, is that right? From March 9th, the earliest you guys have had on record of a turtle laying their eggs, which is incredible. Can you tell me about that?
Yeah, so we got a call that March 9th we had a leatherback nest on our beach, which was amazing. One of our volunteers actually saw it happening, so she was able to, you know, tell us about it, get photos, everything like that, which was great. But yeah, that is our earliest nest on record here in Volusia County, and very exciting for us.
And over 900 last year, 2023, a record-setting year with 516 that were laid, correct?
1,500.
1,516, right?
Yes.
Okay, amazing, amazing. Well, thank you so much for joining us.
And a beautiful day to be out at the beach. Here's a live look at Daytona Beach from our Hard Rock Hotel camera. We're going to take a break here on Fox 35 News Plus, but we'll be right back. Fox 35 Storm Team meteorologist Jessica Dobson joins me now. And Jess, we know finally some rain chances coming this weekend.
Yeah, we've had a couple of passing showers even this morning. They've been really isolated and they've been fading pretty quick, but they have been moving on shore, so we'll take what we can get at this point. Those have been across parts of Brevard County, and as the morning progresses, we could see a few more of these work their way further inland. Now, these, we're only talking about a 10 to 20% chance of rain today. It's very abysmal, and I really think it's going to be for mostly areas south of I-4, and they'll hardly even make their way into Orange County. So don't hold your breath if you're hoping for the rain, but if you have any sort of outdoor plans today, you should be in pretty good shape, just aside from a couple of these stray downpours, and they're going to stay fairly brief as well. We're not expecting, widespread rain. I even think this is even a little bit of a generous representation of what might take place there. But overall, we're just expecting a couple of stray showers over the course of this afternoon. And then as we get closer towards, say, this evening, in fact, that is when we're going to start to see things really dwindle, dry out. So once nightfall takes place, that is when we're going to be expecting, a drier forecast to unfold with a couple of clouds overhead as we head into the overnight. As far as our weekend forecast goes, we are going to be expecting temperatures to climb today, tomorrow into the mid and upper 80s. So today a high of 88 specifically in Orlando, around 87 Sanford to DeLand, 89 in Leesburg, 89 as well in Ocala, 90 in the Villages. So a little further west is where we have those hotter temperatures. We've been kind of saying that all week long. And then along the beaches today, not so bad, but we will be seeing kind of intermittent clouds and sunshine. So right around the low and middle 80s for the beaches as well. So 81, your high today, New Smyrna, Cocoa Beach, Melbourne, 82, Daytona Beach, and we do have a moderate risk of rip currents. So just a couple things to remember. So let's talk about the forecast as we take you into the weekend, because we do have some changes unfolding. We have, flipped over to May, and we're really starting to see a pattern change, which is good news because, my goodness, that drought, it has been in the extreme levels now and for the last week or two, and we've had a severe drought across many spots, and we need the rain, and we've got to start somewhere, so this is going to be kind of our starting point, and especially when it comes to the rainy season, which will likely really settle in as we head over the course of the end of May, if not maybe even a little earlier. But here's what we can expect for your weekend forecast. So 40% chance of rain tomorrow. That is going to be more so the sea breeze variety, but it's still going to be a pretty hot day, a little more humid than what we felt, the last couple of days so far this week. It's been really nice in terms of the lower humidity levels, but tomorrow and Sunday, we're going to start to feel a little bit of that change. It's going to feel a little bit more like a hotter Florida-like day than what it has felt so far this week. But still, don't cancel your plans, I would say, for either day. Sunday, you might be a little more pressed to be able to find some dry time in between some of these showers and storms that are going to be taking place. But even for Saturday, that 40% chance, don't let that discourage you. So let's talk about it. Taking you through tomorrow morning, overall looking mostly dry, but we start to see more of those sea breeze showers and thunderstorms begin to bubble up by lunchtime. But even at that point, they're going to stay pretty isolated and fairly light as well. Fast forward towards around 5, 6, 7 o'clock, we'll start to see more of that sea breeze work its way further inland, potentially bringing rainfall with it to the Seminole County, Orlando area, also through Volusia County to spots that really need the rain. So that would be good news. For our Sunday, we have a slightly better chance of rain, up to a 60% chance. So we're seeing more widespread rain take shape, heavier rain at that, with the potential of some lightning as well with some of these heavier downpours. So that's going to be something you want to watch out for Sunday afternoon specifically, because with both tomorrow and Sunday, it looks like a lot of this action is going to be taking place over the course of the afternoon hours and really into the evening as well. We'll dry things out overnight, and you kind of get the idea, more of the same as we head into our Monday. So Monday does feature, a pretty good shot, pretty decent shot of seeing some showers and storms, and we'll really see kind of that sea breeze collision take shape, and that's going to be accompanied by a front that's going to be moving through. It's going to be a weakening front, but what's going to happen is once it weakens, it's going to kind of stall out over parts of central Florida, and that's going to help to bring with it, multiple rounds of rain in the extended forecast. So as we look ahead towards the next couple of days, we are going to be talking about, possibly multiple rounds of rain, which I think a lot of people are probably going to be pretty okay with. But when it comes to how much rain we're going to be seeing, so far it looks to be, anywhere from around 1/4 of an inch for those who, are going to be a little bit further away from the coast. But I will say, areas closer to the coast where we start to see that sea breeze set up, we could see as high as, maybe 2 inches through about Tuesday night, and maybe even higher totals closer towards the end of the week. So it's going to be some beneficial rain, not drought busting rain, but it's a start. So we got to start somewhere, and this is going to be good. And I know it's not ideal given the fact that it is going to be the weekend, but we can't be too picky when it comes to rain chances as of right now, because we are talking, almost historic levels of drought at this point. So here is the 7-day forecast. So today it's going to be a breezy day, breezy and warm, and that's going to be really the case throughout the weekend. Even by Sunday, we could see, winds gusting, say up to, 25, almost 30 miles per hour. That's going to be, even outside any sort of thunderstorms we see. But by, Monday and Tuesday, temperatures will be remaining hot in the upper 80s and low 90s, and we'll have that 20 to 30% chance of rain in the forecast just about each and every afternoon for much of next week. So it's not going to be a total washout, but it is going to start to feel a lot more like Florida with the hot stretch and the above normal temperatures, and it's going to be a little humid. But I wouldn't say it's a complete and total loss, but I mean, it's hard to be upset when we need the rain this badly. But yeah. I still think, Garrett, that a lot of our weekend plans are going to be in pretty good shape. Just keep the radar nearby.
All right, good advice there. Also looking like there's a chance it could be a bit of a wet Kentucky Derby tomorrow, so something to watch. Make sure you check those track conditions before you place those bets.
Oh my gosh, yes. That is actually something I meant to mention because, yeah, even today there is a pretty decent shot for the Kentucky Oaks that there could be the potential of some showers and storms. That they're likely going to stay further to the south and east of the Louisville area, but still they could see the real potential of some strong and severe storms. And for tomorrow, for the race, it's honestly looking pretty damp and cool. I feel like for the Derby, it's either hot and sunny or cold and wet. So yeah. This is just one of those years, and I'm really curious to see how the rain's going to impact some of those races. Do you have any sort of favorites just yet in terms of horses?
Hard to pick against a horse named journalism, but if it's going to be a wet track, then I'm going to take another look, and I've got my eye on a couple of others if that's going to be the case. So we'll see what I end up doing. I picked the winner last year, so I know what I'm doing.
Oh yeah. Okay, well, we'll have to talk because I'm hoping to place some bets. I've come up upside down, I think, every year for the last couple. So,
all right.
But I do like journalism as well, and also there's one called I think it's called Admire Daytona. So I think that's a fun name.
Okay.
So yeah, it's fitting.
Right.
We'll see.
Yeah. All right. Fox 35 Storm Team meteorologist Jessica Dobson. We appreciate you joining us. As we go to break here on Fox 35 News Plus, give you a live look at downtown Orlando on this Friday morning. Keep it right here. More Fox 35 News Plus after this.
You're watching Fox 35 News Plus, streaming on Fox Local.
Welcome back into Fox 35 News Plus. I'm Garrett Wymer, and thanks for joining us on this Friday morning, live on Fox Local and on YouTube. Attorney General James Uthmeier was in Fort Myers this morning, holding a news conference at the FDLE Regional Operations Center down there, where he was talking about several child sexual abuse cases that in 3 separate investigations, actually, but they all resulted in the arrest of people charged with possession, distribution, and solicitation of child sexual abuse material. Here's the Attorney General from that news conference just a little bit ago.
You know, we see technology exposing our kids to more and more dangers. Many of you are probably aware we brought a lawsuit over a week ago against Snapchat. We see Snapchat as an application that it's a preferred avenue for people like this to get access to kids. They like the features of the application, disappearing messages and photos. It makes it more difficult to track and monitor what they're doing. But we are paying attention. We're gonna hold Snapchat accountable for knowingly designing an app that is addictive. They want kids to be on it as much as possible, and they know about a lot of these dangers, and they haven't taken the necessary protocols to address them. We passed a law last year, House Bill 3, that prohibits younger kids and teenagers from accessing the sites, and older teenagers, 14, 15 years old, are only supposed to access them with parental permission, so that parents, they can go, they know what's going on, they can access the protocols and features and things like that that should be provided to better enable them to monitor, educate, and know what their kids are doing. As parents out there, if you don't know what your kids are doing, if you don't know what they're accessing, please wake up. I can't say enough to scare you what we're seeing right now. We've been investigating Roblox, a gaming app where young people can get on in a social setting and play games with one another. Just 2 days ago, we arrested a guy in Marion County who was using, this application to solicit sexual abuse material of young kids. We're seeing a lot of this. So we're going to be going after any company that's out there endangering our kids. We've put them on notice. Again, we want to work with them. We want to work to create features and design the programs in a way that protect kids. But if you're not going to take that seriously, we will hold you accountable in court. So thank you for being here. I think we got time for a few questions if anybody has any.
James, just for clarity, were these three working together at all? Did they know each other, or are these three separate cases?
These are three separate cases, just evidentiary, timing, collection-wise. They all kind of reached the point where arrests were able to be made in the same day, but in independent cases.
Could you explain, I guess, the relationship of the accused with one of the victims working with a mother? Can you just go into a little more detail?
Yeah, I don't want to get it wrong. I'll turn it over to the special agent here.
Sure. So the case originated in Washington State. A parent of children out there, they apprehended her. They charged her out there. They determined that she was transmitting photographs and videos here to Mr. Montgomery. They referred that to us for our jurisdiction, for our investigation, which we, after getting his devices, we did locate some of those images on his electronic devices. That's why he is charged with that.
Is she being charged?
She is charged in Washington State, yes.
And this was her child?
Children.
Children.
Yes, sir.
Are we in custody? Remain in custody?
Yes. All three were booked in Wednesday. I don't know the bonds off the top of my head.
Travis Montgomery has $260,000 bond. Jason Grant Harrison has $750,000 bond, and Mr. Sheffield down in Collier has $1.5 million bond.
Outside of the children in Washington State, were you able to identify and save any other children, or were you just involved in sharing files, not the production?
So the other two were sharing in these peer-to-peer networks known files of those children are existing files that have been shared in the past. They were not local children. They were not children that were rescued as a result of this particular investigation.
Is there an effort to try and identify the children?
So we go through, so the National Center works through, we work in partnership with them to identify who these real victims are. And oftentimes, when we get them from devices, they've already been identified.
And Attorney General, a quick question. You mentioned potentially a lawsuit against Snapchat. What steps is your office taking to work with tech platforms or local schools to kind of prevent the creation, distribution of this type of material?
Sure. So we've been reaching out to companies to express concerns where we see them. Some companies are more willing than others to be cooperative and sit down. I believe Snapchat, is going to fight the state law, and they believe they have a free speech right that, preempts the state law. I do not believe the First Amendment protects the company's right to expose and endanger our kids. So we will fight that vigorously in court against Snapchat and any other company that we believe is breaking our state law. As far as schools go, we've been working with the legislature to try to limit access to phones and things during school. The average age that a child now sees pornography for the first time, I believe I just heard, was 6 years old. And a lot of that is happening because of these dangerous devices. They end up in schools unsupervised. The internet is everywhere. Parents are the first line of defense. Parents really need to be stepping in to ensure that their kids are at a mature age before they have unlimited access to the internet. But that's not always happening, and thus other kids get exposed. So we're working with the school districts to better, educate them on the dangers that are associated with these applications. And I think you'll see this become, a featured initiative of the Office of the Attorney General over the next, couple of years.
And just for clarity, you mentioned a sex act in a restaurant, and I obviously this sounds horrific, and I guess without going into too much detail, but was just so that we have clarity, he was performing a sex act inside a restaurant with the child?
No, this was with food and things within the kitchen, right?
Yeah, there was no child there.
Okay. It was...
I better not get more detailed than that, but it's horrific. I think a lot of this has always been out there. I think our investigators are using new technologies and skills and are, able to identify things in a better way today than they have in the past. But I also think that, the emergence of technology is giving, these dangerous individuals a feeling of comfort. This isn't, walking around with hard copy materials, where they feel like they're going to get busted. They believe the screen and the computer and the phones protect them. And that's why, we see more people taking these liberties. But they should know we are watching, we will find them, and that they are not going to be protected.
We should note there's been a lot of talk in recent days about Roblox and actions that the Attorney General taking against that platform and concerns over it. Fox 35's Matt Trezza speaking with the Chief Safety Officer from that company. We'll have more on that this afternoon on Florida Live, so we hope you join us for that. We're going to take a break here on Fox 35 News Plus, but before we do, want to show you one of those live cameras that we had pulled up for you during that I-95 southbound is closed right now in Palm Bay after a deadly hit-and-run crash. So the southbound lanes are closed right now. One of the other angles I showed you just a minute ago, you can see this is one of the entrance ramps that is blocked off there. FHP searching for the driver of a semi-truck who they said took off from the scene. This crash happened just before 10 o'clock this morning. 2 people died in that crash. This traffic being diverted is at mile marker 176. That's Palm Bay Road. So still a lot we don't know. We've got the latest details for you right now on fox35orlando.com and in the Fox Local app. We're going to take a break here on Fox 35 News Plus, but we'll be right back.
You're watching Fox 35 News Plus, streaming on Fox Local.
Welcome back into Fox 35 News Plus. Here's a live look at the floor of the Florida House right now. This final day of the legislative session. It is day 60. The Senate currently in recess at the moment, but we know the work of the legislature is not going to be done after today. They still haven't come to a budget agreement, still haven't passed that. They'll have to pass one by June 30th. We do know that lawmakers will not be in town next week, so we don't know exactly the next step of when they'll come back to town, when they will work more on these budget negotiations and be able to send a budget to the governor's desk. So still a lot of questions about that. Meanwhile, they are considering a number of other bills. Right now, House Bill 875 being debated, amendments to House Bill 875 being debated right now on the floor of the House. But just a little bit ago, we had the first meeting of the House Select Committee on Property Taxes. This is the committee that was appointed by House Speaker Danny Perez. We played for you earlier in the week as he spoke about why he was doing this, because the goal is to produce one or more joint resolutions by the fall to go on next year's ballot. The hope is to for the lawmakers to be able to pass these joint resolutions the first week of the 2026 legislative session, for them to be on the ballot in November of 2026, potentially to get rid of property taxes, or at least go down that path here in Florida. Previously, House Speaker Perez offered 5 proposals to kind of kickstart that discussion, and today was the first meeting of the House Select Committee that will kind of go through those proposals, see what other ideas they come up with, and see where things go from here.
Members, as we heard, as we head into the final days, and this being day 60, this is also the first day of policy for next session. Speaker Perez has tasked this committee to deliver legislation that addresses Florida's property taxes and the lifetime ball and chain that Floridian and Florida homeowners face across our state. Members, as part of this committee, you will be inundated with a variety of ideas, plans, and thoughts to tackle this monumental task. Please know, everything is currently on the table, and we are currently in the data collection and the information stage. As information comes in, please feel free to contact directly either myself or Chair Lopez. And now, members, I'd like to ask Chair Lopez if she has anything she'd like to share at the outset of this groundbreaking committee.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good morning, members. Very excited to co-chair this important work with co-chair Overdorf. We have so much to do in such very little time, and so I am grateful that all of you have made a commitment to do what it takes to ensure that we meet our deadlines. And so I'm hopeful that we will all get to work very quickly, and I look forward to working with each and every one of you as we do this incredible work. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Ms. Chairman. Members, I'd also like to invite our ranking member, Gottlieb, if you'd like to say anything as we start out here.
Thank you, chairs. What I'd like to say is that the Democratic Caucus has met on this. We're filled with ideas. We're really looking forward to working with our partners. This is a pressing issue for all Floridians. Housing affordability is the #1 polling issue in the state, and we're proud to be here and to tackle this issue in the best interest of our constituents.
Thank you, sir. So, members, on today's agenda are introductions, a high-level overview of property taxes and in Florida, and a review of the concepts set forth by the Speaker as a starting point for this committee to consider. Before we start with introductions, I do want to touch on scheduling and what you can expect as we go forward in terms of meetings. What is clear that the Speaker expects us to produce a House joint resolution or multiple House joint resolutions by the time interim committee meetings start, which will probably be September. At that point, those proposals will go through the committee process and culminate with bills being ready to heard on the floor during week 1 of next year in early January. How is it assessed? What tax rates are applied? In simple terms, your property tax bill is just this series of steps. What is your house worth to a willing buyer? What limitations are on the assessments that reduce that value, like Save Our Homes cap? What exemptions apply to your property? Probably the 2 $25,000 homestead exemptions, but potentially more exemptions if you're a disabled veteran or a first responder, for example. The taxable value that results from those adjustments is then multiplied by all the applicable millage rates for your home, possibly a county, city, school board, and 1 or more special districts like a water management district or a mosquito control district, and that is what results in your property tax due. This slide is a history of property taxes levied by type of taxing authority for the last 20 years. Some of the things you may want to note: the ramp up and decline of the housing market in the mid-2000s had a much less steep change than the last few years. In 2015, the total statewide collections were $28.3 billion. By 2020, they had increased to $37.7 billion, less than a $10 billion increase. Since 2020, they've increased $17.5 billion. Some of this is certainly increases in property tax values, which have increased significantly, but there are two important pieces to the property tax process. What is the value of the property, and what is the millage rate applied? Collections do not have to increase just because the property values have skyrocketed. That is a choice by the taxing authorities when they set their millage rates. Let me repeat that. That is a choice by the taxing authorities when they set their millage rates.
If you have any suggestions on how to refine this, what are your just initial thoughts, right? We're not here to make a decision whether we're going to, kind of take this on as one of those, but it is important that we find out what your thoughts are today. So I'm going to open it up to our committee members.
Representative Tremont, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. and Madam Chair. Just one quick thought as we're speaking on this proposal. I don't want to entirely eliminate non-homesteaded properties. I'm not quite sure how to include those, but let's also consider the number of renters that are renting non-homesteaded properties. And people often say, oh, the renters don't pay property taxes. That's not true. They are being passed down for them. So I don't have the answer, but I don't want that to get lost in the shuffle on how to incorporate some non-homesteaded properties if they are being rented by long-term renters.
Thank you, Representative. Representative Hart.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. When I look at this first proposal, the initial thing that comes to my mind is, what are we going to backstop this tax with that will help our cities? What happens if we get rid of, all the property taxes? Then how do we pay for our police and fire and all the other things that we have to consider?
Thank you so much. Representative Holcomb.
Thank you, Chair. I want to, based on what you discussed earlier, we talk about property tax, but I think when we talk about the general constituent, the general property owner, they think property tax bill. They think what they pay. They don't really differentiate between the non-ad valorem and ad valorem. So as we're doing, if we go down the road of a referendum, I think we need to be aware of messaging to the folks to say, when we say property tax, we're discussing non-ad valorem, non-school tax, as opposed to what you pay in your bill. And I think that's a key point to differentiate.
Thank you, sir. Representative Franklin.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And of course, I'm always supportive of bringing constituents into the conversation when it comes to major issues like these. My one concern is normally everyday people don't know what their local taxes and their homestead properties, what it does for them in their cities and counties. And so I think it would be important for, like Rep. Holcomb mentioned about education, but making sure they're understanding if we eliminated them in this way, how does that impact their infrastructure, their public safety, and what that looks like? So they're making an educated decision, because obviously people are hurting. We're having an affordability issue. And so because of that, people's incomes aren't increasing at the same levels as their taxes and everything else are. And so they might be looking for relief and understanding what comes with that relief for their entire district or area.
And so something to continue to watch closely. That was just the first meeting of what will be many throughout the summer, throughout into the fall even, again, with the goal of having joint resolutions by the fall to be voted on the first week of the 2026 legislative session. I do have breaking news this morning as the Orange County Sheriff's Office has released video of a person of interest in connection with the attack of a 90-year-old inside that assisted living facility on April 29th, so that was Tuesday. This is video just put out by the Orange County Sheriff's Office on social media. You're going to see that person of interest walk through the doors here in just a minute. The Orange County Sheriff's Office is asking if anyone knows who this is to either call 911 or call the Sheriff's Office directly. Now, this was between 7 and 8 p.m. on Tuesday. They say someone entered the home of an elderly person at Harbor Chase. This was on Della Drive in Dr. Phillips. A couple of different angles here. Ended up battering that 90-year-old This is a story that we followed earlier in the week, but now new video showing a person of interest that the Orange County Sheriff's Office says they want to talk to. So if you know who that is, if you can recognize them or know someone who might be able to recognize them, you are asked to call investigators with the Orange County Sheriff's Office or to call 911. We're going to take a break here on Fox 35 News Plus, but we'll be right back.
You're watching Fox 35 News Plus, streaming on Fox Local.
Welcome back into Fox 35 News Plus. It is never too early to start looking at the summer ahead at the theme parks. And so joining us live now via Zoom to talk about it is Drew Smith. You know him as Drew, the Disney Dude. And Drew, we appreciate you joining us this morning here on Fox 35 News Plus.
Yeah, we are very close to kicking into high gear for summer at Walt Disney World. So Disney said, here's more details. So I figured it's a perfect day to talk about it.
It is, but I want to start with something else here because a pretty special event when it comes to Make-A-Wish. Talk to us about what happened.
Yeah, I appreciate you offering to talk about this because, like you said, it's very special, and I think now more than ever, we need some positivity in this world. And just recently, Disney hosted the Once Upon a Wish party at Walt Disney World. It was a 2-day-long event. They hosted nearly 50 Make-A-Wish kids and their families, going all out, making their princess wishes come true. And this footage you're seeing on screen right now was cast members actually giving a red carpet welcome to these kids. I had a giant smile on my face when I was watching this. And then they had this massive royal ball party with Disney characters. They had Moana stories, Frozen stories. They went all out. And I was just so happy seeing that these kids have something happy to think about with everything they have going on in their life. It's just so nice to see Disney do this every single year. So I figured it was the perfect time to talk about it. And also some fun facts here with Disney and Make-A-Wish. I didn't know this until recently, but on average, every single hour of every single day, a Disney wish is granted. And in the 45 years that Disney and Make-A-Wish have been working together, over 165,000 wishes granted. Just insane numbers. And that number is going to continue to climb, which is awesome.
Yeah, how cool is that? Because, you know, from Disney's perspective, it probably doesn't take a whole lot to make such a big impact on all of these kids.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the number of 165,000 wishes with Disney being granted just goes to show the power of how badly these kids want to experience Disney. And then for Disney to actually offer that and not just, you know, give them park tickets and say, go have fun with your family, to actually do a special 2-day-long dedicated event just for them that no one else gets to experience. I truly love it. And I'm hoping that in the future, they just continue to do more and more things for Make-A-Wish, which seems like inevitable at this point.
But it's also cool, Drew, I think, to think about how much Disney means to so many people and that experience and getting to meet the princesses and just all that stuff. I just think it's really cool on a lot of levels to see, how much it means to those kids and what they're able to do to put a smile on their face and put some of their troubles behind them at least temporarily.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And also the fact, kind of like what you just said, not only for the kids that are going through everything, but for their families as well. Disney invites the entire family out. So this is something for the entire family just to relax, enjoy this event. And I also love the fact that this was the first ever week-long thing that they've done for Make-A-Wish. Usually it's just World Wish Day on April 29th, but this is a week-long event worldwide. You have Alani, Disney Cruise Line, all the other parks around the world. So this wasn't just Walt Disney World with these 50 families. This is a worldwide Disney experiences thing, and I just love it so much.
Yeah, it's really cool. Now let's talk about Cool Kids Summer and some news with that coming out at the Disney park.
Yeah, so Cool Kids Summer is starting on May 27th here at Walt Disney World Resort, and it's going through September 1st. So this isn't just a short event. This is an entire summer-long event. And on May 27th, the big things we have kicking off, like we've talked about before, Disney Villains Unfairly Ever After and The Little Mermaid, A Musical Adventure over at Hollywood Studios. And then later this summer, we have Disney Starlight, the first nighttime parade in nearly a decade at Magic Kingdom. That one's going to be very special, though we don't have an opening date for that yet. But today we have some specifics about all 4 parks at Walt Disney World and the resorts. So I'm going to start off at Magic Kingdom. Over at Storybook Circus, we have Big Top Bash, and that's where you're going to see Pluto interacting kind of in the circus environment. And Disney says there's going to be stilt walkers and jugglers performing around you. So you have a giant DJ party with Pluto, lots of kinetic energy over there. And then right next door over at Tomorrowland, we have the Galactic Blast with Stitch at Rocket Tower Plaza, another DJ party. And this one's kind of perfect timing with the live action Lilo and Stitch coming out on May 23rd, which I'm also very excited for. So 2 big dance parties with some characters in a natural environment where you don't have to worry about waiting in line for an hour, which I think is awesome. And I'm assuming those showtimes are going to be posted on the My Disney Experience app. Moving over to Epcot, we have one big offering at Communicore Hall. I love the name of this. It's called Goofy Core, which is a play on Communicore Hall. Communicore Hall is going to temporarily close starting May 12th, and then it's going to reopen on May 27th when Cool Kids Summer kicks off. This is another DJ-led dance party with Goofy, and that's also indoors. So as we go into summer and you have these massive heat waves coming in the rain, Communicore Hall is going to serve a perfect purpose here with this party. Being indoors with some AC, I'm sure the parents are going to love that, as well as the kids. And then over at Hollywood Studios, this is an area that's kind of been dead in recent years. So when I saw that we're getting some activities at Animation Courtyard, I was like, about time. It's about time. But Animation Courtyard, which is right next to the Disney Junior show, right next to Star Wars Launch Bay as well, we're going to have magicians, jump rope performers, and surprise character appearances over there. So Toy Story Land, I feel like at Hollywood Studios is the big kids area where kids love it, aliens, whirling saucers. But if you just walk right over next door, you can have some fun character appearances. And also just the fact that that's right next to the Little Mermaid show that's debuting on May 27th as well. So that little pocket of Hollywood Studios is going to be very popular this summer. And then moving over to Animal Kingdom, this is an area that no one ever talks about, but it's actually one of the most unique things that you could do at Walt Disney World. Taking the train back to Rafiki's Play-N-A-Watch at Animal Kingdom, we're going to have crafting activities themed to pollinators for kids. And also there's going to be a new limited time Wilderness Explorer badge if you do that activity going throughout the park. Also at Discovery Island, there's going to be a sing-along with the Dino Institute intern. That's a character that Disney debuted a few months ago. It is a Dino Institute character based around the dinosaur attraction, which we know is closing next year. So 3 things at Animal Kingdom. And then at the resorts, if you were staying at Pop Century, Art of Animation, Caribbean Beach, and Wilderness Lodge, there's going to be special Disney-themed activities and character appearances with set times for those appearances. So on top of everything you have going on in the parks with the parade coming, the shows coming, all these activities at your hotels as well. For those select hotels, you're going to have characters. So Disney is kind of going all out here with the live entertainment this summer. And I think with some of the feedback we've had in recent years with people wanting Disney to do more, this is the perfect way to do it when you don't necessarily have that, $500 million new attraction, which social media likes to focus on. It's important to remember that there's so many families coming to Disney, and that's what Disney's main market is. So I'm very happy to see lots of special live entertainment coming up in just a few weeks.
And also some summer ticket offers for Florida residents as well.
Yeah, so we have the Florida Resident Summer Magic ticket offer. And I think that, it's kind of perfect to talk about, what's new and what's coming, and then talk about how you can go to the parks for as low as $60 per day. This ticket offer is going to be available starting May 6th, so just a few days from now, and it's going to be valid for visits from May 18th through September 27th with no blackout dates. Very important to know there's no blackout dates here. So if you buy this ticket and you want to go see these things when they debut, or if you want to go see Disney Starlight later this summer, probably when it debuts in July, that's when I expect that parade to debut, well, you can go. You don't have to worry about, any nooks and crannies with saying, oh, well, you can't go when this debuts. It's only for a limited time. No, this is $60 per day. It's straightforward. It's one park per day, so that's important to know. If you want to get a park hopper, that's an additional $40, I believe. Yes, an additional $40 per ticket, which isn't bad at all. But if you don't want to necessarily go for 4 days, do that $60 per day for the $240 total price, there's also a 3-day ticket and a 2-day ticket. The only thing is that you're spending more money per day. So the 3-day ticket, it's $75 per day for a total price of $225 plus tax, and the 2-day ticket is $105 per day plus tax, comes out to $210 total. So I think that, you can't really go wrong here with that $60 per day option, because I think there's so many new things coming this summer that you'll want to go to the parks for 4 days, especially if you haven't been and experienced these things yet. So definitely head over to Walt Disney World's website and Disney Parks blog to check out all that ticket info. But $60 per day, sounds pretty good to me.
Yeah, hard to beat that. Drew Smith, Drew the Disney Dude, we appreciate you joining us this morning here on Fox 35 News Plus.
Thanks for having me on.
Meanwhile, Fox 35's David Martin had the chance to check out Legoland, or the Lego Festival, which is kicking off this weekend at Legoland. Check it out.
Good morning to you. It's a sincere honor and pleasure to be at Legoland, Florida on this glorious Friday morning. To my left, Master Builder Ryan, who's been on our show before. Good morning to you, my friend.
Good morning.
You still watching that show on Fox, The Lego Masters?
Absolutely. Comes back this month.
Oh, yes. I'm glad you knew that. How come I didn't know that? You're hired. All right. And then to my right, Stephanie Bachara, who's the spokesperson, head of marketing here at the park. How you doing, my friend?
Hi. So happy you guys are out here.
We are too. All right, let's start with you, Stephanie. Lego Festival. It kicks off tomorrow at all Lego parks around the world. What is it?
Oh, my gosh. Leading up to World Play Day, this is where we want you to come out and bond with your kids. We're encouraging playtime. There's actually a Lego study that says 76% of parents believe that their children are not having enough playtime. Lego Festival is trying to change that. We have 5 different zones we want you to check out: music, chill out, dance, and gaming. Obviously, and gaming, yes, with Lego Fortnite. That's a big one. Yeah. So yeah.
And is it for kids of all ages, even the Duplo fans?
Yes. So chill out zone with Duplo Schoolhouse, that's specifically for our preschoolers, but we're geared towards kids ages 2 to 12, but remember, Lego is ageless, so anybody can come out.
Yeah, and we happen to be sitting in one of the zones. You call it the Creative Zone?
That's it. Welcome to the Creative Zone. Here, we'd like to show you what we know as master builders. Some of us have been doing this for a long time, and we're going to share that knowledge with you and our guests. And you'll get to participate in live, interactive, virtual build sessions with our global master builder, Alec.
Wow. And so we learn and we know that these little characters are called minifigs, right?
That's right. So most guests will be familiar with minifigures from the sets they can buy at the store.
Sure.
What we work with here in the park are mini-landers, and they populate our cities. They're a little bit bigger, they've got a little bit more detail, and we're going to show you how to build your own. So start thinking of what you might look like as a mini-lander.
So what have you done here with these two?
So this is one of my friends, her name's Crystal, and this is one of my friends, his name's Chris, and they'd like to have more dynamic poses, a little bit more color, and that's some of what you could build here in the Creative Zone.
And over there you've got other areas of the Creative Zone that we're going to help populate, right?
That's right. So families will be able to build part of our interactive community builds. We'll have a big city called the Fantastical City that guests can contribute to. And for those who prefer to munch on their creativity, we're going to have decorate your own minifigure head cookies. And that will be one of our food and beverage offerings here during the Lego Festival.
This is so so much fun. Again, this kicks off tomorrow, runs through June 8th as part of your ticket here, right?
Yes, included with admission.
Included with admission. And you've got some new rooms to show off at Legoland Hotel, Stephanie. So can we get tuckered out from working our tails off with Ryan, who we're going to want to fall asleep, and we can do it at the Legoland Hotel. What are the new themed rooms?
We have 6 new Lego Duplo. We have 6 new Lego Friends and 8 Ninjago themed rooms. I mean, for anybody that is a fan of Ninjago or any of these series, I mean, they are coming to life before your eyes. You definitely want to stay over.
Yeah, and they're not just rooms. They're suites, aren't they? They're interactive suites.
I mean, there's so much to do. There's a treasure hunt that is very interactive. You know, parents have their own space, which is great.
Yep.
The bathrooms are definitely, you know, the potty's a little smaller for the kiddos, and the kids have their own little hub with their bunk beds and their play area.
It's a beautiful hotel, and we spent a night there with my family. We loved it. We had a great time. All right, so speaking of families, you want them to come out, and you have any family discounts, any Florida discounts you can talk about?
Yeah, so for the hotels right now, if you buy 2 nights, you get 1 night free, which is a great deal. How can you say no to that?
Right.
And then for park admission, we have our summer play pass. I mean, you come, buy the ticket once, and then you can come back all summer, and there are no blockout dates. So just fun on repeat, repeat, and repeat.
You've got Legoland, you got Peppa Pig, the
Yes.
theme park, and then you also have the water park?
We have the water park, and soon to come, David, Sea Life Florida, which is
yeah.
going to be so amazing with over 3,000 animals.
All right, Stephanie Bachar, you've said it all. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Ryan, it's always a pleasure to talk with the master builder. What's your favorite thing to build, even at this age? You still have a favorite item?
I still love building mini landers because you can make them so unique and creative and however you want.
I love it.
A lot of excitement with the first ever Lego Festival at Legoland. Well, here's a live look at Port Canaveral. You see the Disney Wish there, getting ready to leave the port later today. What a beautiful view on this Friday morning, folks, and folks getting ready to take off on some fun adventures as well from Port Canaveral. That's going to do it for us here on Fox 35 News Plus this morning. We appreciate you joining us. We hope you stay tuned for more to come this afternoon on Fox Local. We'll also be streaming live on YouTube and on fox35orlando.com, but just leave it here on Fox Local. At 2 o'clock, we'll be back with Florida Live, and then at 4 o'clock, we have another live hour of Fox 35 News Plus. But the news never stops here on Fox Local, so you might as well just turn it on that TV and leave it on throughout the day. We appreciate you joining us. We have much more to come, and hope you have a great Friday afternoon.